folks, Mike Dawkins from Worldcast Anglers here with your Jackson Hole weekend fly fishing forecast for the weekend of September 11th and 12th. Not much has changed here in the Jackson Hole and Greater Teton Valley area in terms of fishing conditions, weather. It's still hot, it's still dry. We're still fishing sort of the same bugs. Some of the smoke has cleared out a little bit here just today, but we can start seeing some of the big holes. We can see some of the Tetons. We've got some leaves changing, but you know, it's pushing in the high 80s, 88, 89 today. We've had some cooler overnight temperatures, but not too much. We're still sort of in our, summer fishing window where fish are probably still a little bit sluggish in the afternoons when things are hot and things are dry. They're really active in the mornings. Keep sort of those things in mind, but we don't really have anything different to report on. The big thing we do have to report is our Jackson Hole Fly Fishing Film Tour is September 16th. It is at the Spud Drive-In. That's Thursday night. The doors open at 6 p.m. The films start at 7:45. We're going to be giving away 2 tickets on every social media channel where we publish our fly fishing forecast. That's Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Leave us a comment on how much you like our fly fishing forecast and how much you appreciate them through the summer. We'll throw your name into the hat, and we'll pull some names here coming up on Monday for those free pairs of tickets. Once again, leave a comment. We'll throw your name in the hat on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for some free tickets to the Fly Fishing Film Tour at the Spud Drive-In September 16th, this next coming Thursday. Our weather, like I was just saying, Saturday 71 and 42, lots of sun. Sunday 73 and 44, lots of sun. So it looks like we're getting a little bit of a reprieve from the heat. Our 10-day forecast looks really fall-like. We've got highs in the 60s, mid-60s around there, lows in the 30s. We've got some precipitation coming through on Monday, not a whole lot, but enough to sort of shift things around. I'd be ready with mahoganies, I'd be ready with betas and Hecuba drakes, coming into next week for your fishing opportunities in the greater Jackson Hole and Teton Valley area. Jackson Lake's 29% of capacity. Palisades Reservoir is 15% of capacity. Both of those reservoirs are getting quite low for this time of year, and with that, we're starting to see some turbidity come out of Jackson Lake. We're seeing some turbidity come out of Island Park Reservoir. We're seeing some turbidity coming out of Palisades Reservoir. The water's not dirty, but you definitely can tell that it's not, super clear like it normally is. So keep that in mind when you're starting to look at your fishing opportunities coming into this weekend. The South Fork of the Snake, 8,750 CFS being discharged from Palisades Dam, 9,570 CFS there on the lower river. Same sort of report as last week. We've got some leftover mutant stones from dawn until about lunchtime. Plug the rest of your day with terrestrials, hopper droppers, beetles, ants, nymphing with small rubber legs, pheasant tails, things along those lines has been really good. We're starting to see some of those mahoganies. They're coming early in the morning, but this sun and this heat hasn't really given us some prolific hatches of like what we normally see on the South Fork of the Snake. Be ready with your leftover summer bugs, your PMDs, your caddis, your terrestrials, and be ready with some of your fall bugs, your mahoganies, and your betas anywhere that you go in the region coming up this weekend. The Snake in Jackson, 2,940 CFS being discharged from Jackson Lake Dam, 4,280 CFS there on the lower river going into Palisades Reservoir. The Snake is fishing in true summertime fashion, and it's fishing really well. We've got the leftover mutant stones, we've got hoppers, we've got beetles, we've got ants, we've got some of those, sort of small attractor styled mayflies that are still fishing really well this time of year. Your PMDs, be ready with your mahoganies, be ready with your betas, be ready with your Hecuba drakes too. Fish are definitely seeing them, or they've seen enough of them to key into them. So if you're fishing a golden stone or a hopper or something like that and you're not getting any action, try a Hecuba drake or a big parachute paired with like a betas dropper or a smaller pheasant tail dropper, and I think you'd be pleasantly surprised they're coming into this weekend when things are supposed to cool off. The Henry's Fork, we've got 400 CFS being discharged from Island Park Reservoir, 1,040 CFS there on the lower river. Same as last week. You've got some turbidity coming out of Island Park Dam, San Juan worms, rubber legs, tungsten tactical jig pheasant tails, things along those lines. have been fishing really well in the box, but the box has definitely been more challenging as it has been in the earlier times of the summer. The ranch, we're still seeing some tricos, maybe some leftover rusty spinners, and things like that on these hot, dry days with your cinnamon ants, hoppers, beetles, things along those lines. And the lower river has definitely been pretty good. Warm River to Ashton and Ora to Vernon now that we've had the water temps cool off, but there's still a lot of vegetation in the river from Vernon downstream or from Ora downstream that will start letting loose when we start to get these days next week in our 10-day forecast in the 30s. Be ready with your hoppers, be ready with your beetles, ants, maybe a mahogany or baetis here and there on Monday when we get some cloud cover, but definitely a terrestrial game there on the lower river. Hopper dropper, small light nymphing rigs where you can get them into some of those slots and keep them out of the weeds are going to be very productive for you. The Teton up here in the valley, 195 CFS around Driggs, 477 CFS on the lower river. Water temps have cooled on the Teton, but we would expect them to climb back up to some uncomfortable levels for our trout friends with this heat that we're having this past week and today. Similarly, look to plug, those areas on the Teton around those, the end of the summer hatches, the beginning of the fall hatches with your hoppers, your beetles, your carpenter ants, your parachute ants, pairing those with some small sparse droppers and keeping those out of those weed beds and things along those lines can be really productive. Leftover PMDs are around. Be ready for the mahoganies on some of these cooler days. And the lower river has been fishing pretty good too. It's just really on the low side. So be careful and be ready for some low water flows. Be on there early, be off early, and things of that nature. Flat Creek and Jackson is still fishing really well, but we have heard some slowing down of the fishing, especially with this heat and this bright sun. Be out there early in the morning, be out there late in the evening. Caddis, midges, some blue-winged olives, mahoganies, a leftover rusty spinner, your hoppers, beetles, and ants. They definitely have like a couple crane flies and things along those lines in your box to fill some of those midday gaps if you're going to stay out there. Skate some crane flies or some hoppers in some of those tail outs of some of those bigger pools, things like that, and see if you can get some fish's attention. That's all we have. I was just saying we just don't really have much new to report. We've sort of been in this late summer window with some heat and sun and dryness for the past 3 weeks, but our fishing forecast next week will be very different when we start to get some of those temperatures in the 60s as our highs and in the 30s as our lows. It's going to really kickstart our fall fishing season, which should be really good. So once again, we're Fly Fishing Film Tour, September 16th, coming up this coming Thursday or next Thursday, and doors open at 6 a.m. Films start at 7:45. We've got tickets in the Fly Shop. We're giving away 2 tickets on every social media platform we post this fly fishing forecast. All you have to do is leave us a nice comment about our fly fishing forecasts to be entered, and we'll be making those announcements on Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend and a safe weekend on the water, and we'll see you here next week.